What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my series for studying for QuickBooks Online Certification Pro Advisor. So, in this series, I am tackling the QuickBooks Online certification that will enable me to become a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. So, I am learning about QuickBooks and I'm sharing my studying with you guys, and hopefully, you guys will learn something too. So, let's get started. We already have QuickBooks Online Accountant opened up. Just have to hit the QuickBooks Advisor, hit Training, and return to where we last were. We were at Client Onboarding. So we left off at this lesson, Adding Customers. Let's resume. Adding customers. The story so far. Although he's been in business for less than a year, Chris Greer is doing a great job at building up his customer base. Now that you've set up his QuickBooks Online account, you need to add his existing customers so he can track sales and start invoicing them. So let me add that to my notes. Product servicing template. Okay. Let's add that. Adding customers. How can QuickBooks Online help? QuickBooks Online gives you and your client a great set of tools for managing their customer needs or details. You can start with the basics by adding customers individually, or really speed up the process by importing them as a list. In fact, that's just what we're going to do in this lesson. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to recognize how to set up customer lists. So let's see if I wrote that in my adding customers, customer lists. Okay. So continue lesson. Customer details. When you set up a new customer, you can decide how much information you want to record about them. Start by entering the basic customer information such as name and contact details. When you set up a new customer, it's a good idea to enter as much information as you can. This helps you fully utilize the power of QuickBooks Online database when creating reports and working with your list data. Yes, Sunday class, Debbie. Welcome, welcome. So, let's see. Where was I? It may save time upfront to skip fields, but you may regret it later when you realize that your lists are not complete. In the customer information screen, there are 6 tabs that allow you to add additional details. These include tracking customers' taxable status, recording preferred payment methods, and attaching a contract. Use the additional tab for notes about your customer. These can be about whatever you want. Your customer won't see them. Select the headings to find out more about the 5 most important areas. Okay, so address. The address tab allows you to have different billing and shipping address. So here's billing, here's shipping. Okay. Notes. The notes tab is where you can enter notes about your customer, such as product specifications or shipping account info. We can enter, it's right here, such as product specifications or okay. So tax info. This is where you can indicate whether the customer should be charged sales tax and select a default code. You could also store the customer's resale number in the exemption details field. So this is tax info. Where's tax info? Tax info. Select default code. You can also store the customer's resale number in the exemption details. Okay. See what's here. Customer is taxable. Default tax code, California. Okay. Payment and billing. The payment and billing tab is where you set preferences for payment method, preferred invoice delivery method, and terms. So the payment and billing tab is where you set preferences for payment method, preferred invoice, method and terms, preferred payment method, and preferred invoice delivery. I'll see the preferred invoice delivery, but okay. Attachments. The attachments tab is where you can associate a document with the customer. This could be a contract or a customer resale certification or certificate. Attachments. We can associate a document the customer. This could be a contract or a customer resale certificate. Okay, continue lesson. Next slide. Adding a new customer. Chris has sent details for a new not-for-profit customer he has just signed up. The We Foundation, 31 Bradford Avenue, Selden, New York, 11784. Let's add them to Chris's client file. Watch the video to see how it's done. The individual steps are below for you to follow. And let's just review. For some reason, it doesn't go all the way down to the 7th one. But anyway, go to Sales Center and select the Customers tab. So would that be Sales, Customer over here. Let's open it up. Enter the customer's name, phone number, and email from the business card. Select the Save button. You now want to edit this customer's detail to add some additional information. Select the Edit button in the right. As a not-for-profit, this customer is not taxable, but you need to enter their reseller number. Select the Tax Info tab and enter their reseller number. And this will be it in exemption details. So let's click Go.
Go to the Sales Center and select the Customer tab. Hint: if this is the first customer you have added to Chris's company, you are taken straight to an easy entry screen. If you've been here before, just select New Customer in the top right.
I'll be right back.
Enter the customer name, phone number, and email from the business card. Select the Save button. You now want to edit this customer's details to add some additional information. Select the Edit button in the right. As a not-for-profit, his customer is not taxable, but you need to enter their reseller number. Select the Tax Info tab and enter their reseller number 9212345 in exemption details. Select Payment and Billing and set the preferred payment method to credit card. Select Save.
Okay. Oops. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Continue lesson. Okay, next slide is about importing a customer list. Okay, you've looked at how to add an individual customer and all the information you can hold about them. Let's face it, doing this one by one for all of Chris's customers is going to take a long time. If you use the import tool, it makes short work of adding customers. Let's see how it works. To make it easy to import customer lists into QuickBooks Online, we recommend downloading the customer list sample file as a template. Just like we saw with the products and services list, simply download this sample file, then copy and paste the data you have received from your client or from another system into each of the columns. Once you've correctly formatted your Excel file, you're ready to go. First, we need to download Chris's customer list to our local computer. See Chris's Greer's customer list and tools for the file we are using. Go to Sales Center and select the Customer tab. Sales Center, Customer. Select Import Customers. Select Browse and find Chris's customers list downloaded in step 1. Select Next and check that each QuickBooks Online field is mapped correctly to the field in on Chris's spreadsheet. Okay.
To make it easy to import customer lists into QuickBooks, we recommend downloading the customer list sample file as a template. Just like we saw with the products and services list, simply download this sample file, then copy and paste the data you have received from your client or from another system into each of the columns. Once you've correctly formatted your Excel data, you're ready to go.
Okay.
First, we need to download Chris's customer list to our local computer. See Chris Greer's customer list in Tools for the file we are using. Go to the Sales Center and select the Customer tab. Select Import Customers. Select Browse and find Chris's customer list downloaded in Step 1. Select Next. Check that each QuickBooks Online field is mapped correctly to the field on Chris's spreadsheet. Hint: Chris may not have provided customer information for every field. Don't enter anything in the opening balance field because this will make adjustments to the general ledger for each customer upon import. When the mapping is correct, select Next. The import screen displays the data before we actually import it into QuickBooks Online. Hint: you can make changes to the data here if you need to. We're happy with what Chris has sent us, so can move on to the import. Select Import. QuickBooks Online will tell us if the data was imported successfully. In the Customers tab of the Sales screen, we can see all of Chris's imported customers.
Okay. Perfect. So what they did here, let's see. Went into here, import data, and here you can download the, well, not this one. This doesn't have a template, I don't think. This has a template, which is import customers. This has a template for vendors. A template for chart of accounts. And a template for products and services. Show in folder. And then put it up on the other side. So let's continue on to the next lesson. Chris, well, let's look at this. What's this? Oh, that's just a download. Okay, so let's close this up and move on to the next section, next list. Next slide. Lesson check. Once you've imported Chris's customers list, where will you find the customers list? Where will you find the customers listed in his client file? Where will you find the customers listed in his client file? Customers tab in the Sales Center. Yep. ProAdvisor challenge. Now you can try and import a customer list for a client to check what you've learned in this lesson. Select the headings to find out more. The challenge. Import a customer list into Craig's Landscaping using the list we have provided below. Just select the link and download the file to your desktop to start. Then go to the link below. And import the list for Craig. Okay. And I guess this would be what we need to download. So where is that? Enable. Go to the link below and import it. Okay, so how do we import this? Well, let's start by going to customers over here. Export, settings. See if you can import this. Import data. Customers. Okay. Craig's customer list. Let's see if we can get this. Okay. Download sample file. No. Next. Name. Okay, I guess over here we need to make sure that it lines up. Company, email, phone, mobile, street, city, state, zip code. Looks good to me. Oh, they're located in where? 16? I don't see no 16 in here. Is this customer list? Back. Craig's customer list. Oh, this is another one. I don't know why there's two customer lists. Next. Okay. Next. Import. How did you do? Do you see the following customers in the Craig's customer list? Dick TSE, Lawrence 10, Paul Simmons. So let's find out. Sales customers. Let's see if you can find them. Dick, Lawrence, and Paul Simmons. There they are. So I think we're good. Summing up. Well done. In this lesson, you've learned how to recognize how to set up customer lists. ProAdvisor tip. You can also change the customer label in company settings to fit your client's needs. For example, a not-for-profit might want to use the label donor. Next steps. Next steps is let's see how to add vendors in QuickBooks Online. Okay. Let's see. Where are we right now in terms of time? Okay, we have plenty of time. Adding vendors. The story so far. Every business has bills to pay and vendors who send them Every business has bills to pay and vendors who send them. Chris's business is no exception, and we'd like your help setting up his list of vendors so that when bills come in, he can easily match up his expenses. How can QuickBooks Online help? QuickBooks Online gives you and your clients a great set of tools for managing their vendors' details. You can start simply by adding vendors individually or speed the process up by inputting them as a list. Learning outcomes. In this chapter, you'll learn how to recognize how to set up vendor lists. So let's write this down. Adding vendors, vendor list. Okay. Continue lesson. Adding vendors. So what is a vendor? Vendors are businesses Chris buys things from. Payments to vendors are money out transactions. Setting up vendors means clients can do two things. First, they can quickly enter vendor bills and include information such as the remit to address and the due date. Okay, let's read that again. So what is a vendor? Vendors are business Chris buys things from. Payments to vendors are money out transactions. Setting up vendors means clients can do two things. First, they can quickly enter vendor bills and include information such as the remit to address and the due date. This will then pre-populate this information on the purchase forms. Secondly, this will also enable Chris to keep track of expenses by vendor and run reports that will provide insight into which vendor he is spending the most money with, and what items or services are purchased. let's have a look at the fields you'll be populating for Chris. Vendor information. Okay, let's take a look at this. Company. You start by entering the company name. This is the information that will appear on bills and purchase orders that Chris creates. The display name field will automatically be populated based on the information that you have entered in the company field. Note that if the vendor is an individual or you want the contact person to be listed, you should fill in the first name and last name at the top of the screen. Print on check. This field should be automatically populated based on what you entered in the company field. If for some reason the payee is different from the company name, you can remove the check mark and enter the company name that checks should be made payable to. Address. Here you enter the address where Chris will mail his payments to. This is also known as the remit to address. Email, phone, mobile, fax, website. Enter these contact and website details. Cost rate, billing rate, and terms. If Chris ever needs to change the default payment terms for any vendor, he can do it here in this vendor profile screen. The cost rate only appears if the client is using projects and the vendor is not being paid via expenses or bills, but as say a contractor on a daily rate billable client. Okay, let's read that again. Chris ever needs to change the default payment terms for any vendor, he can do so here in his vendor profile screen. The cost rates only appear if the client is using projects and the vendor is not being paid via expenses or billed, but as say a contractor on a daily rate billable to the client. Okay, let's go next. Opening balance. This field can be used when setting up a new vendor to record the beginning balance for a new vendor and should in almost all cases be left blank. When an amount is entered here, QuickBooks Online will automatically create a journal entry to increase accounts payable and decrease the opening balance equity account. Let's read that again. Setting up a new vendor to record the beginning balance for a new vendor and should in almost all cases be left blank. When an amount is entered here, QuickBooks Online will automatically create a journal entry to increase accounts payable and decrease the opening balance equity account. Entering amounts into this field is typically not recommended because you will not capture any details about the bills that make up the balance, such as category or product service. Okay. When amount is entered here, QuickBooks Online will automatically create a journal entry to increase accounts payable and decrease the opening balance equity account. Okay, oops. Let's go back up. Click next. Account number. Enter the vendor's account number. This is helpful for a utility payment, for example. The account number will show up on the memo on the check. Business ID number. The business ID is where you can store the tax ID number, EIN, or social security number of a vendor. This number is used when creating forms 1099 MIS or in QuickBooks Online. Track payments for 1099. Track payments for 1099 selects the vendor to be used in the 1099 wizard when creating forms 1099 in QuickBooks Online. Okay, that's it for here. Adding a vendor. Now let's manually add a vendor to Chris's QuickBooks Online account. When adding a new vendor, add as much information as you can about them in the vendor information screen. Watch the video to see how it's done. The individual steps are below for you to follow. So select expenses, which would be where? Here. Select vendors. Let's open it up. What happened here? refresh. Okay, something happened here, so I'm gonna have to go back. Let's resume. Okay, so where were we? Select vendors. Hint, if this is your first vendors you have added to Chris's file, you are taken straight to an easy entry screen. If you have been here before, just select new vendor in the top right. I don't know what's going on here. Let's try that again. Vendors. Okay, keep track of who you pay for products and services, including 1099 contracts. Add vendors. Okay. So I'm not going to add anything right now, but let's just continue reading. Enter. Okay, enter Lang Sun's electricity supply to the company right there. In the address field, add 8839 East Smoky Hollow Court, Rochester, New York. Let's see. And where is that entered into? Address field. I guess it would be right here. Phone number, this number right here, you would enter into here. Mobile here. Email address here. Leave the opening balance 0. In the terms drop down, select net 30, which is right here. Enter the date. Where? I'm looking to see where the date is exactly. Here, no, not there. Not sure where the date is, but we'll see. Select save right there. Enter the date and select save. This entry will now show in the vendor list in the expenses center. So let's watch the video.
Select expenses from the left navigation. Select vendors. Hint: if this is the first vendor you have added to Chris's file, you are taken straight to an easy entry screen. If you've been here before, just select new vendor in the top right. Enter Lang & Sons electrical supply to the company field. In the address field, add 8839 East Smoky Hollow Court, Rochester, New York 14606. In the email field, add Angela@email.com. Phone 555-5570. Mobile 555-556-9019. Leave the opening balance as 0. In the terms drop-down, select net 30. Enter the date. Select save. This entry will now show in the vendor list in the expenses center.
Feel like, let's look at that. Enter the date. Select save. Enter the date. Oh, the notes over here looks like it's wrong. It says enter the date twice. Hit save. I think. And also they entered in the phone number wrong in the example, in the sample. You guys notice that?
The terms drop down.
How it's only 7 digits over here. And 10 digits over here. Okay.
Select net 30. Enter the date. Select save.
Yep.
This entry will now show in the vendor list in the expenses center.
Okay, well, let's continue. Okay, So importing vendor list. Let's look at this. No, the letters are really tiny to read. Okay. So importing a vendor list. Importing a list is something you probably saw created in the products and services lesson. If you need to refresh your memory, take a look at the animation that shows how to do it here. Adding here. Okay. Chris has forwarded us the list of his vendors, so let's help him by adding into QuickBooks Online. First, we select the Chris's vendors file and download it into the desktop of your PC or Mac so you can find it quickly. From the dashboard, select expenses in the left navigation. In the expense screen, select the vendors tab at the top left. Select the drop down arrow next to the green new vendor button and select import vendors. Now to browse for Chris's vendors file you downloaded. Select next. Because the fields have been set up to match QuickBooks Online format, they will have imported correctly. It is a good idea to have a look at the sample file for future reference. Then you can advise your client on how to prepare the lists for import. Make any necessary edits. Select import. All the vendors and their details should now be in the vendor list in the expense screen under the vendors tab, ready to use. Okay, so let's take a look at the video.
Chris has forwarded us the list of his vendors, so let's help him by adding it into QuickBooks Online. First, we select the Chris's vendors file and download it to the desktop of your PC or Mac so you can find it quickly. From the dashboard, select expenses in the left navigation. In the expenses screen, select the vendors tab at the top left. Select the drop-down arrow next to the green new vendor button and select import vendors. Now browse for the Chris's vendors file you downloaded. Select next. Because the fields have been set up to match QuickBooks Online format, they will have imported correctly. It's a good idea to have a look at the sample file for future reference. Then you can advise your client on how to prepare the lists for import. Select next. Make any necessary edits. Select import. All the vendors and their details should now be in the vendor list in the expenses screen under the vendors tab, ready to use.
Okay, perfect. So let's continue lesson. Lesson check. If an opening balance of $100 is recorded for a vendor you just added, QuickBooks Online creates a journal entry. Which options from the list are features of this journal entry? The journal entry will increase accounts payable. I think so. The journal entry will decrease the opening balance equity account. I think so. Details about the bill will be recorded automatically. Don't remember that. The journal entry will increase the... No, I don't think it's that. So it might be that. Details about the bills. But let's check this. There we go. The journal entry will increase accounts payable and decrease the opening balance equity account. Entering amounts into this field is not best practice because they are not recorded when the journal entry makes the adjustments. So you will not capture any details about the bills that make up the balance, such as category or product service items. ProAdvisor tip. I'm sorry to hear that, Debbie. ProAdvisor challenge. For our ProAdvisor challenge, we'd like you to import a vendor list into Craig's Landscaping using the file below. Download it to your desktop, then import it to add it to the vendors already in Craig's file at the link below the challenge. Import the file into Craig's file when it's available here. And let's get Craig's import over here. So import the file into Craig's file, which is available here. So we go to expense, vendors. There's a new vendor, import vendors. Let's see what it is exactly. Browse. Craig's vendor import file. Next. Let me open it up to match it up. Does it look right? Name, company, email, phone, mobile, fax, website, street, city. State is over here. Zip code and country. Looks good to me. So next, take a quick look at this. Let's see if everything looks right. Doesn't exactly look right because this numbers actually didn't import. Let's see what's going on there. But that's just the way it was entered in the sample file. So, but if that was the case, like if you saw something like that, then you would be able to flag it that something's wrong and if make the fix if necessary. Same thing with the fax number over here. I wonder if any of these websites are actual websites. Import. 9 of 9 vendors done. Okay, perfect. Along with Craig's other vendors, you should see the following vendors in the vendor list in the expense center. So Brian Tublin, do you see Brian Tublin? There we go. And I'll just go ahead and assume that the rest of them are there too. Continue lesson. So summing up, learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, you've learned how to recognize how to set up vendor lists. Okay. Let's see how much time we've got here. All right. So it's been under 40 minutes, so we have time for moving on to the next lesson. And let's see where we're at really. Setting up bank feeds. Okay, that sounds exciting. Let's write this up. Write this down. My notes. Setting up bank feeds. Let's resume over here. Hopefully it's not going to be too involved. Uh-oh. Looks like it froze up. When that happens, I just like click around, see if I could get it to come back. Resume. There we go. Setting up bank feeds. The story so far. As a small business, Chris is always busy and he sometimes struggles to find time to keep track of his expenses. In the past, he usually just stashed his receipts in a shoebox to deal with later. It's then a real headache for him to find time to record them and make sure they reconcile with his bank and credit card account. How can QuickBooks Online help? The great news is that it's no longer needed, that this no longer needs to be such a chore. By having his bank data in QuickBooks Online, Chris can benefit from time savings workflows that will help keep everything up to date and aligned. The bank feed functionality in QuickBooks Online is one of its most dynamic features. It links to online banking and credit card accounts and feeds the bank data transactions directly into the banking center, ready to review and match up to transactions recorded in QuickBooks Online. In this lesson, you'll look at what Chris needs to do to get connected, and in the meantime, manually upload his last month's worth of transactions. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to recognize how to create bank feeds to QuickBooks Online. So continue lesson. Okay. So connecting bank feeds. Let's see what's going on here. Connecting bank feeds. Let's start with a short video. This shows Chris how to connect his bank and credit card account to QuickBooks Online. As you can see, it's pretty easy. Here's a quick recap of the steps Chris will need to take. Go to the banking center in the left navigation. If it's his first time here, select connect. Otherwise, select add account. Cool. Oh shoot, it's happened again. Login failed here. So I'm gonna have to re-log in. Let's resume over here. That looks like it's down. Let's open this up. Okay. If it's the first time, select connect, and otherwise select add account. Select the bank. Use the regular username and password to sign in as for banking online. Hint, you might want to do this with your client so they sign into their bank account and you don't have their banking password. Okay. So does that mean that if you're providing the service not in person, it's like online, virtual service, we require their bank account information? Looks like that might be the case based on what I'm reading here. It might take a couple of minutes for the bank's computers to talk to QuickBooks Online. Choose the bank account for the business and the account in QuickBooks Online. If you don't see QuickBooks Online account in a list that matches the bank account, don't panic. Just add new. Choose the account type, either bank or credit card, and choose a detail type. Give the account a name, then select save. It's that simple. So let's watch this video.
Connecting all your online banking and credit card information couldn't be easier with QuickBooks Online, ensuring you're always up to date with your business's health.
That's true, Debbie. I could do that.
I'll show you just how easy it is. Once you've connected your financial information, QuickBooks Online automatically feeds your transactions into the banking center, removing the need for manual data entry and keeping your business's books up to date, round the clock. All you need to do is choose the bank you want QuickBooks Online to interact with before entering the username and password you use for that account on the bank's website. Don't worry, it won't take long for the bank's computers to connect with QuickBooks Online. Now, you should see all your accounts with your chosen bank. It's as simple as that. The next step is to choose the account or accounts you use for your business and let QuickBooks Online know what kind of accounts they are. For example, business savings or checking accounts. QuickBooks Online will connect to your accounts and download all transactions from the last 90 days, automatically syncing your bank activity to your QuickBooks Online Banking Center. You'll then have complete control over how they're matched and categorized before you add them to your books.
All right. Let's continue with this lesson to the next slide. New connection options. Clients who are customers of certain banks can benefit from a streamlined bank connection via QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online connects to these accounts using OAuth for easier access to financial accounts. Select each question to find out more. What is OAuth? OAuth stands for Open Authentication. It means that your client no longer has to provide their bank username and password after initial setup. Instead, your client gives permission at their financial institution for QuickBooks Online to access their account. Their bank sends QuickBooks Online a token that is used to access their account. After that, QuickBooks Online can still securely access the account even if the client changes their password, giving them a more reliable connection. So let's watch this video about this. OAuth. Okay, that didn't really reveal anything to us. Did I miss something? Okay. Let's see. Which banks are moving to this new connection? QuickBooks Online is working with individual banks to change the way it connects to them. This is why your client will only see some banks offering this new connection, at least for now. So far, Capital One, Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Citi have agreed to move toward a better connection for QuickBooks Online customers. You can find more exact dates and timelines for each bank here. Over time, more financial institutions will make the move, so stay tuned. Let's see what they're taking us to. Okay. What's this? So these are the banks that are currently using it, which are some of the major banks that a lot of you guys are probably using. So anyway, can anybody who has access to the bank website set up the new OAuth connection? Some banks or financial institutions have restrictions on who can establish this new OAuth connection. The primary user for the bank website can always set up the connection, but sometimes delegate or secondary users can't establish the connection. For more information, take a look here. Okay. The primary user, but sometimes cannot establish a connection. However, this is not something you can do for your client on your client's behalf because it requires the sign-in credentials for their bank or financial institution. Is there a deadline for my client to update their existing connection? It depends on which bank they're updating. Each bank gives a window of time to migrate customers over to the new connection. Usually this window lasts 31 days to give your clients enough time and warning to update their connections. Make sure your clients update their connections before the deadlines or their accounts won't be able to keep syncing in QuickBooks Online. Oh, wow. If I understand this correctly, that means they have to migrate, at these banks, they have to migrate to this new connection system. Update your Chase connection before October 15th. We partner with Chase to bring you a faster, more reliable connection. Let's take a few minutes to get it up and running. Only 30 days left until your current Chase connection stops working. We partnered with Chase to bring you faster, more reliable connection. Let's take a few minutes to get it up and running. Let's fix your Chase connection. Your old connection to Chase doesn't work anymore. Reconnect with the faster, more reliable connection now and get back on track. Okay. How much historical data does the new connection bring in? In the past, the default was always 90 days of historical transactions. With this new connection type, it will vary by financial institution. The range will be between 30 days and 2 years. If your client needs more than what's available for your financial institution, You can learn how to upload additional transactions here. Yeah. Yes, Debbie, that's what it seems like. You keep logged in regardless of if you change passwords. That connection to QuickBooks will remain. I mean, from what I'm reading, from what I gather, that's what occurs. So, manually upload transactions into QuickBooks Online. Let's see. I don't think we need to read all this right now. Manually importing transactions. While Chris is connecting his bank and credit card account to QuickBooks Online, he's giving you an export of the last month of transactions for you to manually import. Let's look at manually importing the transactions. Watch the video to see how it's done. The individual steps are below for you to follow. And they read, first, we need to have Chris's banking file ready to upload on our computer and save it to the desktop. Next, on Chris's dashboard, select banking from the left-hand navigation, just over there. Note this is the first time we've been here, so we've got some help in choosing what to do. Select file upload, select browse and upload Chris's bank's info from the desktop. Under QuickBooks account, from the drop down window, select checking, select next. We can now check the mapping of the different areas of the imported file and make sure they're allocated to the right areas in the banking section of Chris's QuickBooks Online file. Select next. Here we can select which transactions to import. We need all of them, so there's no need to change anything. Select next. We're asked to confirm the import. Select yes. Our banking information is now populated with transactions from Chris's bank file. If we select let's go, we see the imported data on the banking screen. If you need to import a bank file next month or into an established QuickBooks Online file, just select the file upload button in the top right of the screen. So let's watch the recording.
First, we need to have Chris's banking file ready to upload on our computer and save it to the desktop. Next, on Chris's dashboard, select banking from the left navigation. Note this is the first time we've been here, so we get some help in choosing what to do. Select File Upload. Select Browse and upload Chris's bank info from the desktop. Under QuickBooks Account, from the drop-down window, select Checking. Select Next. We can now check the mapping of the different areas of the imported file.
Look at that
Make sure
again.
they're allocated to the mapping of from the drop-down window. Select Checking. Select Next. We can now check the mapping.
What? Read that again.
QuickBooks Account, from the drop-down window, select Checking. Select Next. We can now check the mapping of the different areas of the imported file and make sure they're allocated to the right areas in the banking section of Chris's QuickBooks file. Select Next. Here, we can select which transactions to import. We need all of them, so there's no need to change anything. Select Next. We're asked to confirm the import. Select Yes. Our banking center is now populated with the transactions from Chris's bank file. If we select Let's Go, we'll see the imported data on the banking screen. If you need to import a bank file next month or into an established QuickBooks Online file, just select the File Upload button in the top right of the screen.
Okay. Perfect. Continue lesson. Lesson check. Once Chris has connected his look at this statement and decide whether it's true or false. Once Chris has connected his QuickBooks Online account to his bank activity is automatically added to his books. I'm gonna say true. No. What problems might cause? What problems might this cause? Okay. Once Once Chris has connected his QuickBooks Online account to his bank activity is automatically added to his books. That's right, when he connects his QuickBooks Online account, his bank activity is downloaded for review. He will then need to match and add the transactions to commit them to his books. This is unless he streamlines things further using auto add rules. More on this in the QuickBooks Online Advanced course. Okay. Summary, learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, you have learned how to recognize how to create bank feeds to QuickBooks Online. Next up is the module review. Please review to see if there are any elements to recap before moving on. So let's move on. So module review, client onboarding. Let's see how much time has passed. What does this review consist of? Okay, I think we could do this really quick. Module review, client onboarding. The short module review is an optional activity enabling you to revisit some of the key points covered in this course. This is not a test, so there's no scoring and no pass or fail either. Its purpose is to help you reinforce what you've learned. Although the review is optional, we do recommend that you complete it because it does count toward your course completion status and is reflected in the progress bar. To complete this review, simply work through the questions presented. You must answer each question correctly to proceed to the next. Which of the following are true of setting up and editing a chart of accounts? That's true. Merged accounts can't be unmerged. Numbers in QuickBooks Online, I don't think that's true. Numbers in QuickBooks Online chart of accounts can't be changed. I think that's not true. Merged accounts can be unmerged. I think that's not true. Deactivated accounts can be reactivated. I think that's true. All right, we're right. Okay, go to Sales Center. Select the Products and Services tab. Select Import a file. Select Products and Services. Select Browse and find the Excel or CSV file and select Next. Something. Select Import. Here are some of the steps for one of the ways of importing a products and services list into QuickBooks Online. What would you do at step 5? Okay, I don't think it's delete any pricing information for each item. Ensure the fields you want to import are mapped correctly. I don't think it's select new import data. Put any relevant items into bundles. I think it's this selection, and ensure the fields you want to import are mapped correctly. Check my answer. That's right. So next question. Question 3. There are 4 types of products and services. What type would you select for a collection of products and services that you sell together? For example, a gift basket with a collection of specific beauty products. So I would say that's a bundle. Check my answer. That's correct. Question 4. Your client has asked you to show them how to add a new customer to an existing customer list. Select one way you can do this in QuickBooks Online. Okay, add a new customer. Don't recall, but let's see. Go to gear icon and select new customer. Does that happen? Does that work? No. I would say this one. Go to Sales Center, Customer tab, and select New Customer. That makes sense. Question 5. When would you recommend merging accounts to a client? If 2 accounts are being used for the same thing, yeah, I agree with that. When the client asks if they can put everything into one account, not necessarily. When the client has added more than one of the same exact accounts unnecessarily, okay, yeah, I can agree with that. there are too many accounts active in the chart of accounts. Maybe, but I'm not sure. Let's see what this will give. All right, that's correct. Okay, module complete. So next steps. Nice work. You are off to a flying start. You can now move on to the next module from the course overview page. Course overview. So client onboarding is complete. I'm also going to tackle the CPE assessment. Since I am a CPA, I am required to continue working on my CPE, continuing professional education. So I'll go ahead and do that. 6 questions, and let's see how that goes. Okay, so let's finish this up. Start. CPE assessment rules. Before you begin this assessment, please review the following blah 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 blah. Get started. Okay, question 1. The blank organizes financial transactions to allow you and your client to analyze the business's financial data, run financial reports, and prepare for taxes. Which option completes the statement most accurately? Let's say it's profit and loss. Maybe not. Let's see. Organizes financial transactions to allow you and your client to analyze the business financial data, run financial reports, and prepare for taxes. Let's stick with that. Question 2. When setting up an onboarding workflow for a new client, which of the following are default stages in the QuickBooks Online client onboarding work template? Okay. Let's see if I could find that workflow. Okay, so when setting up an onboarding workflow for a new client, which of the following are default stages in the QuickBooks Online client onboarding template? Do I have that template? Checklist start. What is this? No, not this. Well, let's take a look. So work. Let's open this in a new tab. Create project. Create project. Oh no. Client onboarding. Okay, this is what they're referring to. So, what's in there? Meet with new client, sign contract. Okay. Gather new client data and documents. Yes, that's correct. Create new QuickBooks Online subscription. That's correct. Set up client's company information. Yep. Import lists. Payroll setup. No, it's not there. Oh, and you find it's run first reconciliation. That's not there. Customize sales templates. That's there. So, and actually I should probably, do I have that? No. Okay. Setting up customer details in QuickBooks Online includes tabs within the Customer Information Center. What are those tabs called? Okay, and let's see. Address notes, tax info, payment and billing, invoice notes. Not that. Say it's that. Address, notes, tax info, payment, billing, and attachments. Question 4. Select upload transactions. Select browse and upload Chris's bank info from the desktop. Under QuickBooks account, from the drop-down menu window, select checking. Select next. Okay. What should happen at step 5 to complete the steps to correctly upload a bank feed? Add date information from bank statement. I don't think so. Delete the account numbers. I don't think so. Check the mapping of the different areas of the imported file are allocated correctly. Maybe. Allocate each line to an income or expense account. I don't think so. Question 5. What types of products and services item is only available in Plus and Advanced subscription levels? I would say inventory. But let's go back. You know, we should just look it up. QuickBooks Online subscription levels. So what's available in Plus and what is only available in Plus and Advanced? Bundle. Nothing about bundles over here. Services. I don't think so. Inventory. Inventory. Okay, I would say it's inventory. Question 6. Which 3 of the options are ways a client's chart of accounts can be edited? Editing the names of default accounts, numbering each account, merging accounts, deleting. I don't think deleting is an option. You can deactivate it or you can merge it. That's it. You have now finished all the questions. Let's see how we did. 4 out of 6, we're missing some. So Well, let's try this again. I think this is inventory items. I read these being correct. Which three of these options are ways the clients can be edited? I think it's this. Setting up customer details. I'll say it's this. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Chart of accounts, maybe. Let's see how we did. Okay. Inventory items. I know that's correct. Sales center, maybe. This is all accurate. See if that's going to change anything. Oops, let's not do that actually. Okay. Which option completes the statement most accurately? Organizes financial transactions. To allow you and your client list, your client to analyze the business financial data, profit. Let's see. I don't know. Let's try that. Setting up customer details in QuickBooks Online includes tabs with the customer information window. What are the tabs called? Let's try that. Try that. Inventory items. Huh. This keeps getting wrong. So it's not that, it's not that. So let's try that. Let's try that. Inventory items. Customer list, maybe. Let's try these. Oh, something got even worse. So something was correct before. I think this is accurate. No. Okay. Let's try that. Chart of accounts. No, not chart of accounts. It's completely wrong. Let's try profit and loss. Maybe customer list. I don't know, I tried all of them and they seem all wrong. Huh. It's getting worse. Okay. I think this is correct. So let's keep that. I think that's correct. I think this is correct. Huh. Let's do chart of accounts. Let's try that again. Let's do these three. There we go. What was wrong before? Download certificate. Okay. So that's it. And I'm curious to see what they were, but looks like I can't take it again. Okay, very good. Well, I guess I could just watch the video to see what it was that was wrong. All right, guys, that's it for now. I might make another video later on today. Probably not. It's getting kind of late. Have to run off to do some things. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to hit that like, that notification bell, and that subscribe button. Helps out with the channel. You guys stay working hard, work smart, and stay hustling out there. Have a good one, guys.